So good afternoon everyone present here. We are Team Specter partners representing SCMHRD. My name is Dhruv and here are my teammates.
I'm Aditi.
My name is Adarsh.
So we are here to talk about diversity, equity and inclusivity. So I would like to ask, why do companies focus on diversity so much today? Well, based on our insights that we have gathered, there is a firm, Grey App Management, which have got the insight that 55% of the people working from people from which are different from them, that has a positive impact on their work productivity. So this is the reason why company want to diversify talent. They want to create innovation and have a positive effect on their productivity as well. So based on the case given to us, we have created an imaginary firm that act like a consulting company, has the same value, services, and is also operating as in the same environment. So let's see our firm. So this is Jupiter Consulting, business consulting firm founded in 2017. Works with the organization from diverse industries to accelerate their development. They have a client base of 45, revenue of 10 CRs in 2023, total employees of 160. So they have their headquarters in Mumbai and a branch in Delhi as well. The service areas is tax and finance consulting, insurance, deal advisory, risk and ESG consulting. Well, below that we see a diversity index map of the organization. We see an appropriate representation of male across all the verticals. We see very less representation on female in the managerial and executive levels. And for LGBTQ, we see a very negligible representation. And diverse groups, we see 7 across the junior team members and only 2 at other levels. Well, for differently abled, we don't see any representation for the firm. So based on this, we see that we need to dig deeper into the problem solving, and let's see how we can do that.
In this slide, we basically have 3 aspects, right? So this basically shows us how, before we jump into directly understanding what Jupiter is facing problem, let us first understand what are the aspects we first look into. So first is a hierarchy in an organization. So this basically focus on the culture, what a company is following. In case of Jupiter, they are following a pyramid structure. In case of employee life cycle, we basically focus on what an employee goes throughout the journey in a company. In the third one, dimensions of D&I, we basically have divided this into 4 aspects. First one being the gender. So in our research, we found out from World Economic Forum that about 36% of women only get approval for senior managerial positions. When we talk about disabilities, so in a company in India, we have seen that only 0.5% of total staff are working as PWD, and roughly 11% of them are working in different sectors. Talking about LGBTQ+, so we have seen very minimal participation from them in India from different companies. When we talk about diverse groups, so we have seen people from different part of country like India, and they are traveling a long way. Let's say a person traveling from north to south, he faces a lack of acceptance from others. So these are the 3 aspects that we are focusing on, and now we will focus on the problem that Jupiter is facing.
Now, to answer the question, is Jupiter really that perfect? Why don't we look at the past records of Jupiter? We can see 4 major personas that we have pictured in this slide. So let's understand why these 4 personas left the organization. What had really happened? Talking about Dipasha, who was a senior manager of financial consulting department. So have you had a situation in your employee journey that you were unable to make bonds with your colleagues? You were not supported. You felt that you are lonely at your workspace. You felt that you are not paid equally. Well, that is the reason why Dipasha left the organization. Coming toward Balaji, who is a PWD and was a head of senior manager of risk consulting. Why did he left the organization? There was lack of accessibility challenges. There were lack of infrastructure in the organization, because of which he felt that he is not valued in the organization. He was the only PWD in the group. He had no peer support. That is the reason he left the organization. Talking about Ramesh, a senior sales head from Bihar, he was struggling due to cultural misunderstanding. He was facing biases. He was not taken seriously, and he was facing difficulties making bond with different other colleagues. Now, talking about Arya, an assistant manager in tech department, why did she left Jupiter? She was facing lack of support because of being an LGBTQ individual. She was fearing of backlash, and she was feeling lack of acceptance. So we could see that there are many intersecting points in the 4 employees why they left the organization. Now let's go to the next slide and find out and map the effect of biases that are creating blind spot at Jupiter. After understanding the case, we came out to find the root cause of limited diversity and inclusivity. The first bias, non-heterogeneous representation in leadership. In the first slide we saw in the diversity index, there were 3 CXOs, and all of them were male. There was a homogeneous culture that was followed in the organization, which created the blind spot of limited awareness about diversity. Now, coming to the second bias, unconscious bias in recruitment and promotion. That was the reason why Dipasha left the organization. That created the bias of limited exposure to diverse perspective. Coming to the third bias, exclusionary behavior. That was the reason why Ramesh and Arya left the organization. That created the blind spot of absence of communication channel. Now that we have got the root cause of the problem, why don't we look at how similar firms are operating and what they are doing for diversity and inclusivity?
So based on the firms that we see here, we see that is similar to the Jupiter Consulting, and let's look at their initiatives for diversity and inclusion. We see Barrow, that they have recognized colleagues from different culture, nation, and gender. We see Smart Cube, they are doing workshops, they are doing training for their employees. We see Graham Consulting, that they are doing certificates from National Diversity Council of India, and Statexo, which are hiring employees from diverse backgrounds. All these firms have been doing some of the other initiatives just to start their organization on a diversity and inclusion path. Now let's see what would be the value proposition of Specter Consulting to Jupiter.
So, in order to focus on what value addition it brings to improve the value proposition in an organization like Jupiter Consulting, so we will focus on the 5 major objectives that we have. So first one is it generates a better business. So let's say people coming from different background will give you different perspective about different issues that we are having, and it will also help us in company branding as well. Second, achieve optimal level of representations from different people like female, be it LGBTQ plus, and PWDs as well. Retention and internal promotions. Okay, so when we create an inclusive environment in a company, people like Dipasha, Ramesh, they feel themselves like their words are being heard and they don't feel left out of an organization. Talking about the fourth one, culture of belonging, support, and trust, we basically focus on 5 major values. Those are education, awareness, understanding, acceptance, and tolerance. Talking about the 5th and final one, increase brand reputation and reduce the financial risk of an organization.
Now that we have saw the 5 major objectives that we are targeting, let's see what we have for Jupiter Consulting. We have heard unity in diversity. So we have come up with a program that is Unity Prism program, unifying human. As we know, Prism has 6 sides to it. Our Unity program has 6 steps to it. So this program is a holistic diversity awareness and upliftment initiative designed to foster inclusivity and celebrate uniqueness of each individual at Jupiter. Let's dive into our steps. The first step is enlighten. What will we do in enlighten? First and foremost is to make people aware about the diverse group that we have. Understand their perspective. And how are we going to achieve the objective? We'll implement empathy workshop and forum in the organization. Secondly, we'll engage the employee. We'll establish communication channel between the diverse communities. And how will we do that? We'll conduct regular town hall meeting and promote transparency. In that, we'll also engage the employees in various fun activities. We'll make them play treasure hunt. We'll make them play various games so that in each of the game, we'll divide the employees in different groups. Each group will have people from different various backgrounds so that they can establish communication between them. That will bridge the gap in them and they can make better bonds. Talking about the third step, empower. The most important step. There, we'll provide quality education and skill building opportunity through training programs. When I say training programs, that includes e-learning, modules, assessment, and many more. That will help us to support career development and promote inclusive economic inclusion. Fourth, embrace. In this stage, we'll normalize having a diverse and inclusive environment. And how will we do that? We'll conduct feedback and recognition program. Once we implement the 3-step, we'll take feedback from each and every employee of the organization, taking in consideration the diverse work group and how we can improve our program in order to support them. And we'll also have a recognition program. Like we have Employee of the Year, Employee of the Month. Similarly, we will have Unstoppable Employee who will have their consistently good performance in our programs. The 5th stage is evaluate, where we'll assess the individual on the basis of their previous stages, how they have been performing, and that will help us to generate dynamically generated report for employee diversity perspective. Finally, when you are investing so much in the organization, why don't you want to be recognized? Why you don't want the world to hear about you? The 6th step is endorse. We'll encourage collaboration and partnership to improve employee branding. And how will we do that? We'll create social media marketing campaigns on D&I. So when the employees are playing treasure hunt, that time, the entire environment and the situation of creating groups, having diverse people in the same group, that will be, we'll be shooting that videos and uploading it on our website, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So that is how we are trying to come up with the object to solve the problem from the root. Now, let's go towards understanding the implementation, feasibility, and sustainability of our program.
So now that we have looked up how the qualitative factors of our solution would be built, now let's focus on the quantitative factors, like how would we be able to measure all the qualitative factors that have been we have designed. That could easily be used to measure the factors based on category, department, job level, and locations. So we have workforce diversity, we have overcoming of unconscious bias, which is related to complaints that are being registered over the years related to diversity and inclusion. We have category diversity score. We have the mentorship sessions that are being measuring how much of mentorship are being taken, keeping the analytics. The employee attendance in the workshops, and at last, the annual performance review of all the diverse groups that are there in the organization over the years. Now that we have seen the qualitative factors, let's see what would be focus on more.
The slideshow shows the mobile view. That means that the dashboard will be accessible in your phone and desktop view as well. So when we go to the category of spokes, we see this in the dashboard. Different teams and their overall results. So in the generation of technology, why not use technology in our solution? We have incorporated AI to transformation strategy of D&I. AI will be helping us with the recommendation program. And how will the AI do that? We have this dashboard that shows that Karan, who has been participating in all the session, has been marked as green. We can see Ritika, who has not been performing well in her assessment score, has been marked as red. So we will also focus on macro customization. For example, for risk advisory, they might have certain level of attendance that they have to meet. So this is a customizable program that will be customized according to the different sector that we are targeting on. Then the AI will also help us to find right leaders and maintain succession planning in the organization. Dashboard will help us in performance appraisal that will help people like Dipasha. Now, we'll also take necessary action to improve the D&I score of the organization. So this is the dashboard, and these are our 3 main things that the dashboard will be helping us with. Now let's go towards the implementation.
This is the implementation phase that we will talk about. So we will try to understand how feasible and sustainable this is for Jupiter Consulting. So we have divided this into 3 phases, and this will go for 12 months. So approximately a year. So in the phase 1, we have implement, phase 2, we have evaluate, and phase 3, we have optimize. So in phase one, we just got to know about the 6E or the Unity Prism program. So what we will try to do is we will try to deploy the same program in across first pilot on high priority, low impact teams across different teams in an organization. So this will be done for both the locations of Jupyter, and we will do a parallel pilot run, and we will find out how exactly it goes. And this will work for 4 to 5 months. And after this, we will do the pilot run that will be for a month or two. In the second phase, that will be for 2 to 3 months. We will basically focus on taking regular surveys from those who have participated and try to understand, do we need to rectify something and work something more upon it so that it is more feasible for them as well. And this is the third step, where we will leave the program as in autopilot mode so that it goes, and without any hindrance and without any problem, they can move ahead with the same program. So that is going to be on for the next 2 to 3 months.
Now that we have used a design thinking approach to lay down our solution and have the implementation in place, let's see how the different stakeholders will interact with each other. We have Specter partners, and their deliverables would be customized company-specific Unity Prism program to transform the organization, tool to benchmark the industry players, performance indicators throughout the consolidated report, and sustainable D&I practice. Based on the top level management, they will communicate the strategy to the entire organization, have an active engagement with the HR, human resource team will have an assessment of the progress report of the organization, communication with the top level management, and for the Jupyter clients of Jupyter Consulting, they will assess them as a diverse and inclusive organization. So in return, we see Specter partner would be getting reverse mentoring from the top level management. There will be strategic input from the human resource team and business growth opportunities from the client of Jupyter Consulting. So now that we have assessed all the things, the feasibility of the solution, the implementation, we have a plan for our VCs out here. So based on our assessment, we have seen a targeted market of 900 plus boutique firms in various domains like commercial financing, financial consulting, insurance and brokerage, environment consulting, interior designing, and many more, who would need diversity and inclusion in future or right now at some level in their organization. Based on our assessment, we have done revenue projections for the 5 years, which will create a plan for the company. We see a 6.6 crores of revenue in 2028, and based on our revenue projections, we have created a cash flow, net present cash flow for the company, which would be around 3.25 crores for the company. So based on our valuation, we have used a 5x multiplier for the cash flows to get a valuation of the firm that comes around to be 16.27 crores.
Join us to paint the sky of Bharat.
With stars of every shade.
We ask 80 lakhs for 5% of the equity.
Thank you.